No, we'll check on that as well. Morning.
So you're higher this time.
Well,
Morning.
okay. Arne, I just wonder, how encouraged are you by what you saw at the weekend, thinking in particular Florian and Alexander, and therefore how tempting is it to go same again, or do you feel you have to rotate?
I haven't felt so much about that because yesterday we had recovery and after this press conference we're going to train, so let's see how players feel. Florian, for example, has missed out 1.5 2 weeks of training. So for him to already play so many minutes was a good thing, and today's day we have played, and Joe Gomez is one of them. So let's see. It was encouraging to see Florian playing that well, but it's not the first time he played well for us. Maybe the first time other people noticed, but I've seen him playing well for us many times already. And for Alex to score his first goal is also very positive. Also a player who couldn't play, I think 5 to 10 more minutes than he played, because he told me yesterday that he felt a little bit of cramp coming up already. So another player where we should see how he does when he trains today.
I'm assuming though that Mo wasn't happy about being left out. Therefore, what's his reaction been like since? What kind of conversations have you had with him?
No, that's a fair assumption, and that's a normal reaction from a player that's good enough to play for us. And then I say it mildly because he's been so outstanding for this club for so many years, and will be for us in the future. So yeah, of course a player isn't happy he's not playing. He wasn't the only one who wasn't happy that he wasn't starting, I can tell you, and that's normal. But the way he behaved was as you would expect from a professional he is, but he was very supportive for his teammates, handled himself really well during the day and yesterday in the session as well. So you cannot be a player that's available every 3 days and play on that high standards if you go with your emotions. But for Mo, he's so disciplined, knows what to do to stay fit, and no matter if he plays well, doesn't play well, if he plays or if he doesn't play, he will always be that top professional, and that's what he was in the last 2 days.
Just check what the plan is for Mo as well. I'm not expecting you to tell me when he's going to be starting again, but I assume you've got a date for him to go to AFCON yet, have you, or have you not got?
Yeah, we have. I think is it FIFA who does this? I don't know exactly, but it's the 15th of December. But as always, in these situations, there's a player involved, there's the nation involved, Egypt in this situation, in the club, and there are always talks about what is best for all three of us. So,
just how tough a game are you facing now against Sunderland? Just three defeats in the Premier League this season, and I suppose the surprise package in many ways in the Premier League so far this campaign.
Yeah, a big compliment for the manager because they brought in a lot of new players and they started off so well. I saw the game Chelsea against Arsenal on our way back home. Very high standard game, two teams that were fighting each other and working so hard, all the players on the pitch. And then I was aware of the fact that Sunderland was the team that beat Chelsea in their stadium and had a draw against Arsenal. So you can look at the league table by looking at them how good they have done till now, but after that game, knowing that Sunderland is a team that beat Chelsea and had a draw against Arsenal tells you how strong they must be.
They seem to have a great resilience as well, don't they? I think they showed that against Bournemouth when they went 2-0 down and then went all the way to the whistle. That's going to be a big factor, I suppose, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, another game where a set piece was also very important for them in this situation. So yeah, they've shown great mentality, but not only great mentality, the style they play, the risk they take when they don't have the ball, very high-paced game. Players are working so hard, all 11 of them, to get a result. That's also what I saw with Chelsea Arsenal, but that's and if you play Chelsea Arsenal, you don't do this with 11, you have no chance of winning. So that's why they must be a team that does this. And that's what I saw when I looked them yesterday, and I'm going to watch more of them today. So a very hard-working team with also a very clear identity how they want to play off the ball and on the ball.
And just to come back to something that you've mentioned about Mo, if I may, then, which essentially, I suppose, he plays like he's superhuman, but the reality is he is a human being. Do we have to remember that sometimes?
Fortunately, for the time I've been here, I didn't have to remember you to that because he's been a superhuman being. Or what was your words?
Yeah,
superhuman being. But as all players around the world, there are also phases in your time at the club that you are human, is the way you put it. And but yeah, he scored so many goals for us, and I'm sure he will in the future.
Thank you.
Carl?
Can I just clarify, the 15th December date, is that negotiable? You were suggesting there may be some movement around that, possible movement around that?
I think the way we've worked at this club, and I've worked in the past, is always that there is a communication between all three, the player, the club, and the country. So that's nothing new. That's always the same. Also when they come back, when they go. So, but I think is it FIFA who did this? FIFA, yeah. They've said the 15 is the last date. I assume a player has to be released.
So would that mean, even if it wasn't a negotiation, he'd be available for Brighton and then go, or would he go before the Brighton game?
What is the date we play Brighton? Is 15 the day?
13.
No, there's your answer then. Yeah.
Can I just check as well then, you touched already the likes of Isaac, Wirtz and Gomez and their fitness status. I presume is it not possible for them to play 3 games a week, and if that is the case, then do you have to make a decision on which game they out of the next 2 they play?
I think they're not able to play 3 times 90. That's for sure. And now I have to wait and see how they feel today, if they are able to play tomorrow from the start again. But that all 3 of them can be involved in all 3 games. If they don't get an injury, that's a fair assumption to make.
Pardon?
Just with Mo in mind again, is there sort of an indication from your end that the next week or so you could perhaps try out a few things to see how the team copes with that more?
No, I think in a few weeks he's already at the African Cup of Nations. So we have to find then a way to play without him because he's not there. That's true. Yeah.
And just another one really. So the BBC's been looking at the issue of online abuse in football, and in one weekend at the start of November, the research showed that you were one of the most abused coaches online, and that managers were more likely to be abusing players. So just really, how do you feel about that, and what more needs to be done to eradicate that?
That was probably not after a win, was it?
It was after the City.
After the City game. Oh, maybe I expected it more after the Forest game. But I think it's abuse is never a good thing. Not if it's about me, if it's about the players, if it's about other managers. That we are criticized, that's completely normal. Even if we are winning, I think this happens. But if it starts with abuse, it's not a good thing. But I am not a social media person. I don't have a social media, so I'm not aware of it. But I'm not stupid. I know it's there. I would be the first manager in the history. No, not in history, because it's only recently that managers get abuse online. That if you start to lose, yeah, you're aware of the fact that people are not happy with you. But abuse is definitely not a good thing. But what I notice, what I feel, is the support the fans give me in the stadium, because even at 0-0, the fans were singing for the team, but also for me. So that's the support I feel. But I'm not surprised that after our results that there's abuse. But that's in general, that's something that should not happen, but unfortunately does happen.
Can I just ask about Joe, because he's had such a tough time over the past few years with injuries and things like that, and maybe a little bit unlucky, but he comes in on Sunday and doesn't put the foot wrong? How important is it to have not just a player like that, but a character who can come in and do that kind of job for you?
Yeah, it's a skill set he has that after a long time not playing, you can play him again and he just performs as he did before that, and that's something that's not easy because I've worked with more than a few players that after a certain amount of time without playing, it's difficult for them to get to a certain standard again. So it's definitely one of his skill sets. I also think it was really helpful for him that Dominic Szoboszlai helped him out a lot because, like you said, Joe did really well, but he got a lot of help from Dominic as well.
Oh. Hi Arne, you mentioned there about the support from the crowd in the game against West Ham. I want to think about the last time Liverpool were at home, particularly speaking about fast starts as we did last time a couple of weeks ago. There was that moment in the very first minute against PSV where Mohamed kind of held the ball for 20 minutes and you felt the crowd getting a little bit agitated. Against a team like Sunderland, who are going to be quite aggressive and they're pressing quite high, how important do you think it is to try and set the tone with how you play, to try and get that atmosphere going, get everybody on side?
No, that's always important. By the way, in that situation, PSV was also pressing us high, but where PSV normally jumps to the goalkeeper and we can make a triangle. This time they didn't, and I think Joji was prepared for someone that jumped to him. And that's why he waited a little bit longer than usually to find an option. I think there was only one moment, but it's never helpful. Sunderland are a similar team than PSV was in that moment for the rest of the game. I think PSV was in a low block, which we didn't expect them to be, but which they did. But Sunderland combines both, so they are either pressing you really high or 11 players defend in and around their 16 with all they have, and that's why they are such a difficult team to play against. But it's in general it's important to start a game of football well, ideally even by scoring a goal. But yeah, that's what both teams want, and we are going to try that tomorrow, better than we did recently, because recently, except for the West Ham game, we've conceded in the start of the game.
James?
Arne, can I just check on Conor Bradley and Jeremy Frimpong, where they're up to with their rehab?
Conor got into a training session yesterday for the first time.
Team training?
Team training, yeah. How do you say this? Not everything 100% yet, so we had to manage that a little bit. So don't get your hopes up too soon, too fast. But the good thing is that he does certain parts with the group already, and we expect the same with Jeremy next week. So the two of them come back, but unfortunately we play a lot of games in the upcoming week. So Jeremy, if he's training with us next week, he will miss out on 3 more games, for example. Yeah. But the two of them come back.
With Conor, do you think tomorrow will come too soon, but maybe the weekend could be available for Leeds?
Yeah, I hope he will be available for Leeds. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Very good next talk.